पुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। We are in the middle of the 6th chapter, talking about an inward journey which is necessary. It's a necessary component of Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga turned inwards is called Dhyana Yoga. There is nothing other than that. Because our outward conduct and connection with people and our reactions to incidents, things, situations in the Jagat is based on whatever there is inside. The inner world of raga, dveshas, fears, complexes, notions is very much connected to the outer world of names and forms. So in other words, what is interacting with the outer world is the inner world of names, forms and notions. So these names, forms and notions that I have nourished for so many years, so these names, forms and notions of the inner world in the antahkarana, the inner instrument, mind, ahankara, etc., are interacting with the outer world of names, forms and notions. This much we have seen. And so therefore the practice of withdrawing from the outer world and then examining what is inside is very much warranted. And by the 6th chapter we are ready. If we had started this practice in the 2nd chapter itself, then everybody would have run away because it is too much too soon to look at. But now, with 1/3 of the Gita, hopefully under our belt, meaning we have mastered this much understanding. So with this much understanding, we can take a peek into the inner landscape, or should we call it a landfill? Do you know the difference between a landscape and a landfill? Now, what is landfill? Exactly. If you drive to New Delhi, there is one garbage hill. It's just garbage. It's a hillock full of garbage. And the hawks and everything are circling all around it. You can't go there. Really, very difficult. It's not a hill on top of which there is garbage. What is it? Whole hill is garbage. It's called garbage hill, landfill. In fact, the landfill is usually underneath, but here it has burgeoned to compete with Mount Everest soon. If we don't examine our behavior and conduct vis-a-vis the universe, how we treat the Jagat. But anyhow, that's a different topic. Now coming back to this topic, we have to examine, I said, the inner landscape, which is more like what? An inner landfill. Filled with what? Raga, dvesha, and all the reactions stemming from that. So what is the cause of well-entrenched preferences and prejudices? What is the cause of that? Ajnanam, self-ignorance. Self-ignorance is the cause. If self-ignorance is the cause and raga-dveshas, prejudices and preferences are the intermediaries, what is the effect? Dukkha. What is the meaning of dukkha? Great happiness, correct? Just checking to see if everybody is awake. Yeah. So, dukkha means great sorrow. Dukkha. Sorrow. Sorrow is the result. How can happiness be the result of this kind of a landfill of all garbage notions about the self, about the world, about God, about other people, all these things. And so therefore, this has to be corrected, and the correction is very beautifully described in the next section that we are going to study in 2 steps, 2-stage correction. One is an immediate correction based on what? Viveka. When I understand, Viveka is recognition of what is right and discrimination between what is incorrect and what is correct. And what is correct is what is permanent, that is Atma. Other than Atma, any conclusion I come to is incorrect. And what about Atma? Atma is that which doesn't come to any conclusions. Simple. So any notion I have is incorrect, impermanent. Knowing that is a relative short-term solution to the problem of sorrow, anger, all these things. And then what is the permanent solution? Atma Jnanam, self-knowledge. So we all have to understand this, that there is, the Bhagavad Gita presents very beautifully an interim solution and an extended encouragement to study Vedanta. As it extends the encouragement to study Vedanta, it presents the study of the understanding of the self as free of sorrow. Not that I have sorrow and now I am going to remove the sorrow. This is not at all logically even possible. Even if we take tarka, logic, not logically possible. And I will tell you why. Because this sorrow is if it is real, it cannot be removed. Because the definition of real is that which cannot be removed is real. If sorrow is real, it cannot be removed. Oh, I misspoke. What is it? Sorrow is unreal. Can you remove something that is unreal? No. Non-existent sorrow cannot be removed. And if the sorrow is really existent, can it be removed? No, it cannot be removed. And so what is sorrow? Mithya, in between real and not real, in between existent and non-existent. And that is why it is as though there, and therefore it can be as though removed. And the 2 stages are very well mentioned in the next section, starting with verse 23. Let us chant that one. An important verse, talking also about the 3rd definition of yoga. Tam vidya dukkha samyoga viyogam yoga samgitam. Sanishchayena yoktavyaha yogo nirvinna chetasa. Very important verse. And the 3rd definition of yoga. Yoga samgitam tam vidyat. Know that to be yoga. Know that to be a definition of yoga. We already have had how many definitions of yoga? 2. Yoga samatvam yoga uchyate, number 1, in verse 48, 2nd chapter, and in verse 50 what do we have? Yoga karmasu kaushalam. In other words, equanimity in receiving the results of action is karma yoga. And then what else? What is the second one? Yeah, in discretion in the application, discrimination in the application of samanya and vishesha dharma to specific situations is also yoga. Samanya dharma, universal set matrix of norms, of attitudes and values that are correct or not correct, which is applied to specific situations. Like ahimsa paramo dharma. Ahimsa is the ultimate value. We have seen that, ahimsa. But then what happens? Somebody is choking, and then the other person goes behind them and then gives them what is called a Heimlich maneuver. You give them an unwanted hug, quote unquote, from the back, squeeze their ribs, jump them up and down, and then whatever, if it's done correctly, whatever is lodged in the throat, making them not be able to breathe and go blue in the face, is ejected, and the person has immediate comfort. But two ribs got broken in the process. Himsa or not? Yes? Is that himsa? Technically, yes, it is himsa. But then, why it is not considered himsa? Because the intention behind was to what? Save the person from what? Going blue all over the body. That's what. Now only the face and lips were blue, but now if we had left that, the person would have succumbed. So, but here, for the sake of saving the life, what is there? There is a little bit of rib pain. So the karma that would have ended in death has just ended in a little bit of discomfort. So therefore it is Vishesha Dharma, all that is very important. And so then that is the second definition. The third definition is very peculiar, based on a pun. Tam vidyat, this is yoga. Yoga samgitam tam vidyat. Know this to be yoga. What is that? Dukkha samyoga viyogaha is equal to yoga. Lot of word play on yoga. Yoga here, the word yoga, as I told you last time, in our previous life when we had the last Gita class, has many, many meanings. And then one of them is what? One of them is nirodha, cessation. And the other one is restraint, discipline. And the third meaning of the word yoga is is a lifestyle. We saw all that. We have seen all these meanings, and here it's in the traditional sense of a kind of a cessation. Technical meaning, cessation, nirodha. It is used in the sense of nirodha, and then let us see the translation fully. So, know this to be yoga. What is the this I should know to be yoga? Dukkha samyoga viyoga. Dukkha samyoga, association with sorrow. Oh, should I write that down? Association with sorrow is yoga? No. Wait for the punchline. Dukkha samyoga viyoga. Dissociation from association with sorrow is yoga. Ayyo, that's a mouthful. Yes. Even in Sanskrit it's a mouthful, because the word yoga comes so many times. Dukkha samyoga viyogaha tam vidyat yoga samgitam. Know that to be yoga, which is association from, dissociation from association with sorrow. Very beautifully put, not one word is out of place. And this yoga, what is this yoga? It's a yoga not of association. Yoga usually means union, coming together. But here it is viyoga. Viyoga means separation. That's why the upasargas, the prefixes in Sanskrit are very, very, very important, because they can make it into an opposite meaning. Like, even in English we have that. Decline, declinable. And then you add a prefix, in. In plus declinable, indeclinable. Oh, that's the same, declinable and indeclinable. Same? No, opposite meaning. Kind, unkind. Opposite meaning. Same thing here. So, viyoga means separation. Samyoga means well-entrenched association. So the prefix sam means well done, and we also can mean well done, but here it is not well done, here it is opposite. Vigataha yogaha yasmat, from which all association has departed, which means what? Dissociation. So yoga is dissociation from association with sorrow. Just the translation for right now. Saha yogaha, this yoga, nishchayena yoktavyaha. I have to join myself to the practice of this yoga. What is this yoga? Conscious dissociation from associating with sorrow. When? All the time. This is the relative, what is that called? A relative interim step based on discrimination, viveka. Yoga is dissociation from association with sorrow. This yoga has to be practiced all the time. Sanishchayena yoktavyaha. What? Saha yogaha. How? Anirvinna chetasa. Nirvinna means hopeless. Chetasa means through the mind. With the help of a mind that is not nirvinna. Nirvinna means what? Hopeless. Anirvinna means not hopeless. Opposite of hopeless. Hopeless, not hopeless. So this has to be practiced with a hopeful mind, by the one with a hopeful mind. Lord Krishna knows very well. What does he know? That for the one practicing this kind of a separation from dukkha, sorrow, then sorrow somehow seems to come again and again, and then have the effect of, like a sorrow is like an octopus. You know, so many tentacles. You say separate from one tentacle, another one grabs from the back, then you separate for yourself from that, the third one grabs around the hand, and then it says, I love you very much, even though you don't love me. This is what dukkha says. And then what does one do? After a while, first one struggles to get free, after a while one succumbs. This is called nirvinna chetasa. This succumbing tendency, succumbing to the tentacles of dukkha is called nirvinna chetas, the one who does that. But here, anirvinna chetasa means with somebody who is not hopeless. That hopelessness must be kept at bay. That is our homework. Because whenever dukkha attacks, and if I already have hopelessness, dukkha plus hopelessness is what? Double dukkha. Double sorrow will ensue. So cheerfully, I have to keep that enthusiasm, that hopefulness, and that and the knowing the mithyatvam of dukkha. Mithyatvam means that it is not my reality. Dukkha, sorrow, is an impostor. Easier said than done, correct? Very easy to sit in the class and say, and very easy to sit in the class and listen also. Something happens as soon as the footwear is worn after going outside. Some change takes place where all the precious Shravanam is left for the walls and the curtains and the carpets and the floor and the doors, the windows, and finally the ceiling. So this is somehow what happens. That means what? How well entrenched the sorrow is, we have to understand. So we have another, speaking of prefixes and suffixes, we have a suffix that is called matup, tadasya asti iti matup, which also sometimes changes into ini, and that e goes away, in. In is the suffix, like dukhi, when you say, it is actually the base word is dukkhin. The pratipadika is dukkhin. Dukkhin is very easy to translate in English. The one who is in dukkha. That's why dukh in. Okay? Yeah. Like Vedantin. If you're not a Vedantin, what are you? Vedant out. Yeah. So in the same way, you are a dukkhin. In dukkha. So if I am in dukkha, what can I do? Remove myself. Correct? That's easy. So like if I am in a room, I am in this room and I don't want to be in this room for whatever reason, doesn't matter, then what do? I simply jump out of the room, I go out of the room. Let's say the room is on fire. I don't want to be in a fire encircled room, it's dangerous. I know if I stay here, this will also be consumed. So what do? By any means necessary, if I am inside a structure, I can go out of the structure. So the jiva is in dukkha. Dukkha is again fiery dukkha, lot of trouble it is giving. Nobody wants to be in dukkha. Then why doesn't the jiva, why doesn't the person simply leave the room called dukkha? Why not? Because it's not so easy. Why is it not so easy? Because if I am in a room and the room is on fire, or room has got a water flood has come, deluge has come, the water is rising, or the fire is encircling me, whatever danger one can imagine, I can easily go out of the room because I don't consider the room to be myself. This is the difference. I don't say I room. I am in the room. So the locator, ashraya, is the room. Ashrita is who? The jiva. Correct? So if dukkha is the ashraya and the jiva is in dukkha, then you can jump out of the dukkha. But here, the ashraya ashrita confusion is there. Located confusion is there because the located meaning, namely this jaded, faded, hopeless jiva, thinks itself to be what? Not located, to be one with the location. What is the location? Dukkha. To be one and the same as the location. There is no difference between myself and the location. That means what? Complete, total and endless identification. I am no longer dukh-in, I am dukkha personified, I am dukkha embodied, I am dukkha incarnate. I am an incarnation, a purna-avatara of dukkha. I am a total avatara of dukkha itself. So this way, there is a complete and a wrong identification. That's why extrication from this dukkha without Vedanta Shastra is impossible. Because who wants to extricate themselves? The ones who are entrenched in the dukkha, and the ones who think I am dukkha personified. If I am sorrow and affliction personified, then who is wanting to get out? The sorrowful one. From what is one wanting to get out? The sorry state. And if the sorry state is identified with the one who considers oneself to be totally sorrowful, then where is the extrication possible? Not possible at all. That is where this verse comes into the picture. Dukkha samyoga. You please know that you are not dukkha. It's very easy to know that you are not dukkha. Why? Because just think about anything. Think about any time you looked at a sunset, any time you looked at a smile on the face of a small child that you encountered. Not that you even know the child, just a child you met on a walk, smiled at you. And then what? Instantly, you are no longer dukkhin, you are dukh out. You see the sunset, dukkhin or dukh out? Dukh out. And you see, So you can see anything and become dukh out. See chocolate, dukh out, immediately. The word itself has got magical properties. And then you see something which you like, dukh out. Rest of the time, dukh in. So there is a vyabhichara, this contradiction. Catch hold of this contradiction, Lord Krishna says, because this is the ticket to getting out of dukkha. If there is a contradiction, sometimes I'm dukkhin, sometimes I'm dukh out. Which is the reality? Dukkhin or dukh out? Hard to tell. Some interfaith leaders will say this. I heard this at some, what is that? World something. Parliament of World Religions. 10,000 people are invited every 4 years. And this is this parliament that was addressed by by Swami Vivekananda in 1893. So it still continues. So there is a medley of people coming from different lineages, sampradayas, and all kinds of people come. And I heard, I was on a panel with few other people, and I heard one of my co-panelists say this. Sometimes we feel broken, sometimes we feel whole. This, my friends, is the reality. We are both broken and we are whole. And people also said, yes, that is true. Yeah. If this is true, then I don't yearn for purnata. I don't yearn for wholeness. If this is true, I should be happy being sometimes broken, sometimes whole. Why do I want to be purna? Why? Because I eschew sorrow from my life completely. I do not want to be unhappy. Except if somebody pays you, please make this role. Yeah, please cry here and I'll give you some money. Okay, no problem. We have professional criers. Yes, who go to death ceremonies. Because sometimes, the people are in shock. The family members are in shock, especially if it is an unexpected death. And so we have professional criers. Women, ladies who go from house to house, wherever there is a death, they tear off their clothes, beat their chest, cry louder than the closest family member, and then in the process make everybody else also cry. They have a therapeutic effect. And then what do they do at the end? They just take their money and go. They get a new set of clothes and then they take their money and go. They are paid to cry. They are paid to, they look so sad. It's amazing. One would confuse them for the family members. They cry with so much passion. And so for a fee, somebody can do that. But if you are not being paid a fee, you don't want to cry. You don't want to be a dukkhi at any time. This vyabhichara, this contradiction itself shows us that dukkha is an impostor. Is an impostor that's riding in a plane called avidya. What is avidya? Self-ignorance. Self-ignorance is the pain, it is a pain, yeah. But self-ignorance is the plane, and then what is the first-class passenger? Dukkha. Dukkha has got a nice seat and people to fawn on it and give it peeled grapes and nurture it. Dukkha is having a very good time in the first-class section, which is in the front of the flight. Very nice. And then what? What is the fuel for this plane? My raga dvesha. My own well-entrenched notions, prejudices, preferences are the petrol for this plane. That is the diesel upon which this plane flies. It hovers around me, making me miserable because of my association, entanglement, and complete identification with dukkha. But dukkha, see, if it is a pain of association, then what is the antidote? Dissociation from that which is making me sad is the antidote. That is the antidote. If association is the cause of sorrow, what is the cause of happiness? Dissociation. Oh, I do that all the time. I just stare off at the ceiling. And some people say, when I am upset, I go to my happy place. What is this happy place? It is some kind of a manorajya. Manorajya means some kind of a fantasy world, a safe world where nobody is hurting me, where I am not sorry, I am not sad. This has become a kind of an expression in psychological quarters. I go to my happy place means I am not present. It is so intolerable here that I just go away. Is that what is meant by dissociation here? Certainly not. It's not dissociation from the present. It is not dissociation from one's life. It is not retracting to some place of safety. Oh, when I was in my mama's womb, how lovely it was. So safe I was, connected to the source. I'm not going there. That is not the dissociation that the Bhagavad Gita talks about. That is not the instruction of Lord Krishna here. So what is this dissociation? It's a strategic dissociation from all those things that make me sad. Well, one can say, a person can say, it's you who is the cause of my sorrow. What do I do? Well, sometimes maybe it requires a strategic withdrawal from that until one understands what is this cause. Nobody else is the cause, actually. Actually, sorrow is something that attaches to one, as it were, because the seeds of that sorrow are already there in the form of the sprouting ignorance. Self-ignorance, when it sprouts, leads to sorrow. And the water, again, to use a different metaphor, that which makes the self-ignorance sprout into sorrow is raga dvesha. In the next verse, that raga dvesha together will be called by a new name, sankalpa, intentions. So therefore here, what to do? Sa nishchayena yoktavyaha. So first is dissociation and then the correct association. The association is with the yoga of dissociating oneself from sorrow. Yoga here means the knowledge, the lifestyle. The lifestyle of associating with sorrow is something I know very well. In fact, within 2 minutes, one can make oneself sad. You give me any word, I'll make you sad in 2 minutes or less. Any word you give me. What? Because, yeah. Because is any word, noun. Give me a noun, yeah. Orange, yes. When will I get to wear it? See, already there is a wistfulness. And then if you look at the fruit called orange, yeah, you know how much pesticide is in one orange? It is part of what is called the dirty dozen. A dozen of things that must never be eaten. So much pesticide to save it from all the birds, to save it from all the other insects and everything that want to feed off of it. And by the time it comes to your table, into your hands, even though it may be called prasada, it is what? Pesticide prasada. So next time you receive an orange, please know what you are eating is pesticides inside a skin. Is anybody feeling good now? Huh? One more word. Gadget? Cat. Okay. Yeah. See how free the animal is. It is almost enlightened. No guilt, no hurt. Can you make the fat cat feel guilty? No. No guilt at all. You bad cat. You try telling the cat. It will just flick its tail and walk away. Yeah. And so nimble, so agile. Compared to me, I'm such a klutz. Klutz means totally graceless. Yeah. It always lands on the feet. And me, even if I jump 1 inch above the ground, I land on my head. Like this, you can think yourself to sadness because we are used to this narrative. One is used to this narrative. One can think oneself into sadness. We can do it with any word, chocolate. Oh, but chocolate you always give as an example to make us smile. Not anymore. Look at the chocolate industry. People have to harvest the cocoa beans and then they have to take out that skin, and that skin is full of what? Exactly, pesticides. And the pesticides get under the skin and the workers are losing their nails. You ask people from South America, they will tell you the sordid story of chocolate. What it takes for us to enjoy one, not even a bar, one little wrapped piece of candy. What it takes. Same thing you can do with flowers, same thing you can do with anything. Even sunset. We can think ourselves into sadness because that habit is already there. That habit is called, this habit is called the habit of hopelessness. The habit of association has turned into hopelessness primarily because one has become accustomed to it. And so there is a conflation of myself and sorrow. Oneself and sorrow are conflated, therefore it is difficult to extricate. But now, no more excuses. We have to practice this yoga, says Lord Krishna. Why? Because this is the ticket to Atmajnanam. So here is first a viveka, based, a conscious as a sadhana one practices, and then with the study of Vedanta it becomes natural. So what is there to practice here? The practice here of this particular yoga involves becoming friends with a punctuation mark called full stop. Do you know the punctuation mark called full stop? When we write, where does the full stop come? At the end of a sentence. So we know how to put a full stop. We know how to recognize it on the printed material. Then there is a full stop. Now we have to put a virtual full stop after every vritti, after every thought in the head. Oh, this is turning out to be a bad day. Full stop. Don't sneak in a semicolon there or a comma. Full stop. Full stop means there is nothing comes after it. It's a discrete full sentence, finished. This is going to be a terrible day. It didn't start off very well. Full stop. No, but I want to think. No, it's full stop. It's gone. The next thought, is it any better? No, it's not much better. In another way, the same thought will come in a different way. Like Arjuna's question. Same question in every chapter. In another way it will come. And then what do we have to do? Full stop. Oh, I am just so sad. And then nothing is happening in my life. I feel like I'm in a place of spiritual stagnation. Full stop. I wonder when this stagnation started. Full stop. Wonder when it will go. Full stop. No, but I'm thinking good things. When it will go, I'm thinking, shut up. Full stop. Keep quiet. You have to tell the vrittis. You have to mind the mind. To mind the mind. This is what is called self-mastery, at least on the level of practice, till it becomes a habit. Self-mastery is mastering the mind, where the mind does my bidding. I don't go after the mind and do its bidding. Who is the master? Who is the Swami? You. You are the Swami. Who is the servant? Mind is the servant. Mind is the servant. You are the Swami. So therefore, you have to be in charge, and the only way to be in charge is collect a lot of full stops and keep them handy, and after every thought, put a full stop. Whether the thought is in the form of speech with a friend or a co-worker or whoever it is, or whether the thought is internal, just a thought. Full stop. No, but this is a nice thought. Doesn't matter. Full stop. Oh, that's what I thought. Full stop. Then with the practice, abundant practice of full stops, then I understand the sorrow is an impersonator. It is an interloper. In fact, it is an imposter that wants to make friends with the ahankara, the ego, the I notion. Dukkha is very sneaky. In fact, dukkha can be quite charming. How can sorrow be very charming? It's a kind of a funny charm. It's the kind of a friendship between ahankara and sorrow, like with a person that you're not particularly that fond of, but you feel they need help. And then because they're always in a state of, I'm not finding this, I don't know what is it, why did they change their class time, I was used to the older time and now the new time, and then who goes to meditation at 6:55 and what is going on, and so you feel sorry for them. You want to take them because they feel victimy. And then you want to take them under your wing. You want to give them a hug. You want to help them. Here, I'm there for you. Don't worry. I'll call you and we'll go to meditation together. What? We'll go together. Everybody says that after one day you will also stop. No, I won't stop. I'll be here for you. Who says? Ahankara says. Dukkha says, okay. Up till now I had no friend. You're my only friend. Dukkha can be very charming. You see how seductive it is. It has completely colonized the ahankara, and now the ahankara says, you leave dukkha alone. It's not, when you hurt dukkha, you're hurting me because I am dukkha. The identification is complete. Sad but true. So therefore, the disidentification has to be done consciously and throughout the day. Throughout the day it has to be done. That is today's homework until satsang. In satsang we will debrief on this and see how the day went because of this practice. This is what it is. Throughout the day you have to do this. The full stop, full stop, full stop, full stop. Full stop means I'm not going to entertain this thought anymore. It is not a run-on sentence, it is not a comma, it is not a semicolon, it's not even a M dash. It's none of those punctuation marks. All it is a full stop. Very easy, finished. This sentence is done, it is now in the past. Where I am? In the present. And if in the present, if the same thought comes again, that too is made into the past. This is how one emerges from identification from dukkha. Identification with dukkha. Identification with dukkha is the cause of sorrow. Conscious disidentification from dukkha is what? Jnanam. Jnanam here, relative jnanam. So, dukkhena samyogaha, jnanena viyogaha. Jnana here means viveka. Vivekena viyogaha. Viyogaha means separation. The separation is due to discrimination. The identification is due to the ajnanam. This is what has to be practiced day after day after day. Then of course the question arises, because after all one is a jiva, and the jiva wants to know, why should I practice this? What will happen? And this is answered in the next in the next verses. Somehow I have been led to chapter 9. Let me go back here. Yeah. Sankalpah prabhavan kaman tyaktva sarvana sheshatah manasaivendriya gramam viniyamya samantatah shanairuparamit buddhyadhriti grihitaya atmasamstham manastya kritva न किंचिदपि चिन्तयेत् यतो यतो निश्चरति मनश्चञ्चलमस्थिरम् ततस्ततो नियम्यैतत् आत्मन्येव वशं नयेत् प्रशान्तमानसं ह्येनं योगिनं सुखमुत्तमम् उपैति शान्तरजसम् ब्रह्मभूतमकल्मषम् युञ्जन्नेवं सदात्मानं योगी विगतकल्मषः सुखेन ब्रह्मसंस्पर्शम् अत्यन्तं सुखमश्नुते सर्वभूतस्थमात्मानं सर्वभूतानि चात्मनि ईक्षते योगयुक्तात्मा सर्वत्र समदर्शिनः दर्शनः. Yeah. So, these set of verses talk about a little bit about the process of putting this full stop and also the phala. Process we have already covered. So we will the process is basically the full stop is first put at the end of the thought. The full stop, the placement of the full stop is first at the end of a thought. And then with practice, what Bhagavan Krishna says is that the full stop comes before the thought. Have you ever seen a full stop come before the sentence? It does not, the last full stop doesn't count because that is after the sentence. But here, the placement of the full stop changes with the practice of this yoga. Very interesting yoga, beautiful yoga. First you put after the thought because the thought has already come and the thought is powered by raga, dvesha, ahankara, dukkha, everything together. They have constructed the thought into a wonderful mansion. A thought mansion is already there before I know it. And so, what do? I put a full stop. Then, with practice, the placement of the full stop then changes to mid-thought. Have you ever seen a full stop in the middle of the sentence before it finishes? Now you have. So, the thought full stop stops the thought midway. Oh, I don't feel so. Full stop. Don't complete the sentence. No, but I want to. Full stop. Oh, this is just like last time. Last time I failed and this time also I will. Full stop. So first the full stop is where? At the end of the thought sentence. Next the full stop shifts to the middle of the sentence. But this is all grammatically wrong. Who bothers? Who cares? This is not a lesson on grammar. This is a lesson on self-knowledge. Yes. This is a lesson on the sadhanas that prepare the mind for self-knowledge. Let the grammar go wherever it wants to go. Okay? So the full stop is called Purna Viramaha. I love the Sanskrit word for it. Viramaha means cessation. Full stop, Purna, full cessation of the thought after the thought. Then with practice, full cessation of the thought, mid-sentence, mid-mental sentence. And then as one progresses, where does the full stop come? Before the thought itself. As the thought rises, the person who is now a jnani vis-a-vis the thought says, uh-oh, full stop. Immediately, I know where I am going, full stop. No, let the thought even not come out. This is exactly what the jnani does. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha Manogatan kaman. As the thought arises, the desires as they arise in the mind, the jnani puts a full stop even before they are formed. Full stop before the sentence. So first full stop after the sad sentence of sadness, second full stop in the mid-sentence after some sadhana and practice has been gained, and the last and final full stop before the sentence. So the sentence has no place to come. The sentence is, oh, full stop, okay. There is no chance for me to come out. So this is the progress that is described here. And then how is that done? It says that it says two things are required for the shift in the placement of the full stop. And in fact, even to put the full stop at the end of the sentence requires these two practices, which are described in from verses 24 to 27. No, 24 to 26. Okay, so then 24 to 26, what is described is how to change, first how to have the habit of full stop, and how to change the practice of putting the full stop first in the middle and then at the beginning of the thought. So, what does this entail? First, it entails examination of and giving up the desires. Giving up the desires, not all desires, the desires that bind you to that particular thought. Sometimes it's not desires like desire for candy, desire to go to a movie. It's not a concrete desire. This is an amorphous desire. An amorphous desire where it is just there in the head somewhere, and that desire powers the anger, powers the sorrow, and causes identification. Sometimes the desire could be that as long as I'm sad, I'm having friends. If I become happy, where will all the attention go? Where will all the people go? Now I'm acting helpless. Now I'm acting like a victim. Now I'm acting like, oh, today this part is hurting, tomorrow that part is hurting, today fever, tomorrow cold, day after tomorrow sadness. Then everybody will be around me, asking me, are you okay, are you okay, are you okay? Now suddenly I have become a graduate of the 6th chapter, then I just start putting full stop before the thought comes, and then what? No friends I will have. What is this sentence, no friends I will have? Also a thought, also a wrong conclusion. Full stop. You see how deeply this is entrenched? So it becomes a habit. And so even the sorrow is in the form of desire. Prabhavan sankalpan. Asheshataha tyaktva. This is one having given up these forceful desires, which keep one in treading water in place, meaning no movement, just basically just going in one place. Like, you know, if you go to the gym, there are things that don't go anywhere but go places. So you sit on a cycle in the gym, and then it says, oh, you have cycled 4 kilometers. Have you really gone 4 kilometers? No, your stationary bike it is called. And then you walk on some mill. What is that called? Treadmill. You tread on the mill, and then there it says you have jogged 5 kilometers. You have not gone anywhere. Same thing here. If this practice is not done, there is no evolution, there is no emotional maturity. This is a sure practice for gaining emotional maturity. There is absolutely no emotional maturity when these desires, including the desire to be noticed, including the desire for companionship, including all that, is not interrogated. No, but I can't stop the desires. Nobody is asking you to stop the desires. Because if you say, I want to stop all desires, you are left with one desire. What is that? To stop the desire. How are you going to stop the desire to stop the desire? Then I have to have another desire to stop the desire, to stop the desire, to stop the desire, to stop the desires. You see, we go into an infinite regress. We are not asking you to stop the desire. We are asking you to put a full stop in front of the desire, which means what? Suspend it for the time being. Notice it. Notice its effect on you, on your psyche, on your life, on your conduct, on your relationship. This is an internal, inside job. This is what you have to do. How has the ahankara, inside job metaphorically means when there is a robbery, but the person who is inside the house only has taken, there is no robber from outside. Here also the ahankara has been robbed of its independence by the dukkha. What is the source of the dukkha? Prabhava sankalpa, forceful desires. They are the cause of taking the ahankara away. The ahankara has been robbed of its senses. It doesn't know what is what. It has joined the dukkha. It is now mindless, and then mindlessly it has joined the sorrow. Therefore it has to be retrieved. The ahankara has to be taken back to where? Brahman. To the truth of myself, which is understood through this teaching, through the Vedanta Shastra. But the sadhana portion here is talked about, and then giving hope to the person is that with the buddhi has to extricate the ahankara from the doldrums of the dukkha, and then what is needed is hopefulness and perseverance. Hope and perseverance have to be my two new friends. They have to be my friends because they are going to extricate me, the ahankara, from keeping on associating with the dukkha. So therefore, shanai ruparamet. So first is the buddhi is active in extricating the ahankara from the doldrums, and then the one understands that with the help of perseverance, the mind slowly resolves in oneself. And then with this practice, one can easily get to a place of thoughtlessness. Na kinchidapi chintayet, atma samstham manah kritva, na kinchidapi chintayet. Thoughtlessness is what? Samadhi. But this samadhi is just a, what is that? It is just a practice. It is not self-knowledge. It is not what we call understanding the self, enlightenment, or whatever term you want to use. Why? Because when the thoughts come, again what comes? Dukkha comes back. Dukkha says, I am back. So therefore it is not, this is just a practice. It is a yoga. It's a practice here. It's an internal practice of keeping the inner instrument called the antahkarana free of debris, free of clutter, free of all kinds of residues. This is what is very important. Shanai ruparamet. Don't worry, Lord Krishna says. You will regain your senses. You will understand you are not dukkha personified. When? Very soon. Try this practice, you will like it. Try letting go each time the thought arises, let it go, full stop, full stop, full stop, and you will find yourself freer and freer. Oh, so what do I have to do to get there? Yato nischarati. However, each time the mind wanders to the land of dukkha, each time the mind wants to hug dukkha and associate itself, graze in the dukkha grasses, each time the mind wanders, what you have to do? Bring it back. Tatas tato niyamyaitat. Repeatedly. It's not once, repeatedly. Just what we do in meditation, in close eye meditation from 7 to 7:30, what do? What we do is what we have supposed to do the rest of the day. Oh, whole day? Yes. Whole day you do that. Oh, but I have to keep my eyes open. Yes. Do open eye meditation. Have that same kind of a watch. The buddhi keeps watch over the thoughts and over my behavior. Both. My thoughts, my conduct, everything. The buddhi keeps a gentle, the buddhi is the security guard that keeps a gentle watch over that. And so, tatas tato niyamyetat atmanyeva vasham nayet. Vasham means bring it under your mastery. And then with this mastery, what happens? Two kinds of outcomes are given in 27 and 28. And so the first one is the meditator. This yogi, the yogi described in the first one is a meditator, is an adept meditator. So for the adept meditator, there cannot be any sorrow. Why? There is no conflict. And why is there no conflict, no sorrow? No sorrow, no conflict is there because the yogi is happy. Why? Because the yogi has learned to put full stop all over the place. When the yogi talks, there is a full stop. That's why the yogi doesn't talk too much. Why? Because wherever the yogi looks, the yogi sees full stop. This is actually very nice because you want to say something. And then usually we just say, we don't censor ourselves. There is no need to. This is a free country. The last time we checked, we are not monitored. So we talk. Oh, today it is not sunny. And this is supposed to be a conversation starter. Says who? Is it not available? Is it not evident? Is it not practically self-evident that today is not a sunny day? Yes. Is it not practically self-evident that it is cooler than the few days ago? Yes. So then we think. That's why it says think twice. Here, not think twice, think many, many times. Oh, by the time the person has already gone, good. One less interaction. Very nice. This is very wonderful. Wonderful, very, very nice, because many things do not need to be articulated, either because they are already evident, number one. Number two, articulating certain thoughts will lead to conflict, will lead to some ambiguity, may lead to some difficulty, either for the other person or whoever is the hearer. So such thoughts are not talked about. What not to say is very important according to the Shastra. Satyam bruyat, priyam bruyat. So speak the truth by all means, but speak it sweetly. Apriyam satyam na bruyat. If you think something is true, but it's going to hurt people, don't say it at all. Your sweater is ugly, or you look terrible in this cloth, in this color. Is this something to say or not to say? Not to say. Keep it to yourself. Keep it to yourself. Many relationships are salvaged if we practice this. Even if you're not interested in Vedanta, if you just want to have smooth relationships in your life, this practice helps. Because the yogi in verse number, what number is that? Yeah, in verse 27, the yogi sees only full stops and stops talking. Because when the yogi tries to open his or her mouth, what does she see? Full stop. Okay, chup, keep quiet. Again tries to open the mouth, another full stop. Okay, quiet. So the internal quietude that one yearns for is already there. It has to be discovered by practicing this thought vikshanam and this mano vikshanam, and also whatever comes out is also watched. So then what happens as a result? Enjoys great happiness because there is no conflict. Inside there is no conflict because of the practice of inner full stops. Outside there is no conflict because one is not saying anything objectionable. One is not saying anything at all. Hardly one is talking. And so there is no chance of conflict there also. And then what happens? So upaiti. Upaiti means gains. Gains a tranquility. Gains a tranquil mind in which all the kalmasha, means impurities, ragadvesha, has resolved and becomes one with Brahman, becomes within quotes, is already Brahman, becomes one with Brahman, so to speak. This is the relative sadhaka. Now in verse 28 and 29, what is there, and even 30, even 31, so 28 to 31, what is there is the jnani. First yogi, then jnani. And the jnani's lakshana are given. Who is the yogi here? The yogi is the jnani here. The meditator is a jnani, because first is in dharma, and then is the meditation has turned into a kind of contemplation through the recognition of Brahman as oneself. So this practice leads to wanting the knowledge of Brahman and exposing oneself to the knowledge of Brahman. One becomes free of this dukkha. Absolutely free of this dukkha. In verse 27, what was there? Relatively free of dukkha. Is ready for the knowledge has not taken place, or one has not pursued this knowledge. In verse 28, absolutely free of dukkha, and then the person enjoys this being Brahman, understanding oneself as Brahman. And what that entails is this, that sarvabhutastham atmanam sarvabhutani cha atmani ikshate yoga yuktatma sarvatra samadarshanaha. Samadarshanaha means the one who has the sameness of vision. Sameness of vision everywhere. Sarvabhutastham atmanam, the one who sees oneself in all beings. The one who sees all beings in oneself. Not easy. This is called sarvatma bhava. The one who sees oneself as abiding in all beings and all beings as abiding in oneself. Through what? Through this Atma-jnanam, self-knowledge. The self-knowledge is the prasada. This is the prasada of Atma-jnanam. I don't have conflict with anyone because they are an extension of me. Before I didn't have conflict with anyone because I became a master punctuator of full stops. I threw full stops everywhere. I stopped talking. I became quiet. I became calm. But then now what has happened? First I became a master meditator, then that meditation with the exposure to this knowledge resulted in contemplation of myself as totally free of dukkha, and I being the only thing there is, everybody is an extension of me. So if somebody behaves badly according to oneself, if you see, oh, this person has bad behavior, immediately one can resolve this judgment by saying, that person could be me, could have been me. By some grace, I am not behaving like this, but in that circumstance, this could be me. You extend that to others. So there is, the Sarvatma is gained by two kinds of practices. In addition, Sarvatma is gained by Vedanta Jnanam, but then in terms of practices, two types of practices. First you say, nothing is me. I'm not this, I'm not this, I'm not this, I'm not this, I'm not this. It's all you, O Bhagavan, Namaha, Namaha, Namaha. And then after that, it's all me. This is what Rudram is. First it is na aham, Namaha, Namaha, Namaha. Namaha means it's all you, it's not me. Whatever there is glorious is you, it's not me. Nothing is me. And then we have Chamakam. What is Chamakam? This is me, that is me, everything is me alone. The whole universe is nothing but me. Very beautiful it is. And so this is the vision that one can look forward to abiding in, and then more directed towards Arjuna is a teaching that one who takes oneself to be equanimous in all situations, in pleasure or pain, and that yogi is very exalted, because again we come to the level of practice, and there the 6th chapter right here should have concluded. Why didn't it conclude? Yes, Arjuna has a question. Let us see what he wants to ask now. Arjuna uvacha yoyam yogastvaya proktaha samyena madhusudana एतस्याहं न पश्यामि चञ्चलत्वात् स्थितिं स्थिराम् चञ्चलं हि मनः कृष्ण प्रमाथि बलवदृढम् तस्याहं निग्रहं मन्ये वायोरिव सुदुष्करम्. Fine pickle you have put me in, O Krishna. And this big yoga you taught very nicely throughout this 6th chapter, which is called Samya, oneness. What happened? What? Shloka number 33, 34, yeah. Where it starts with Arjuna Uvacha. So, fine pickle you have put me in, fine spot. Very nice for you, O Bhagavan, to say, mind the mind. You don't have a mind. You are Bhagavan. You are free of antahkarana. That is the definition of Bhagavan, the one who doesn't have the inner instrument. If inner instrument is not there, there is no raga, there is no dvesha, but then it is not a permanently vegetative state. It's not like there is no brain, there is no buddhi, not like that. It is knowledge without a container. So what will you know about trying to master the mind? You don't have a mind. It's easy for you to say, oh, mind the mind, and I don't think this can be done. This yoga of sameness and seeing you in everything and seeing myself in everybody and seeing me in everyone else, I can't do this. Why? Chanchalatvat sthitim sthiram. The mind is not something that can be held. It's like a bullet train. Manojavam Maruta Tulya Vega Manojava it is called. Manojava means the speed of the mind. Tadejati tannejati taddure tadvantike. Ishavasya Upanishad also describes the Atma as like this. It is here now, it is gone there, now it is here. It is in association with the mind. It looks like the Atma is moving. Right now you can sit right here and go to South Africa and come back. In 1 second you can go and come back. Immediately you can go and come back. Say, oh, I want to see where Gandhiji was. Oh, okay, that train station where he was thrown, and let us go see there. Oh, how nice. Okay, see, we have gone and come back. We have gone so far without spending 1 paisa. 1 penny we have not spent, we have gone. Next trip, America. 3rd trip, Thailand, we can go. Why not? And 4th trip, we can go somewhere else. Like this, the mind is never stationary, O Krishna. Chanchalam himanah Krishna. Okay, if it was just chanchala, I could keep on bringing it back. Pramathi. Pramathi means it's stubborn. Balavat dridam. It has got a mind of its own. The mind has a mind of its own. What to do? Tasyaham nigraham manye. I consider the catching of the mind that you're telling me to do, it's harder than catching a fistful of air and bringing it to you. If you had said, Arjuna, go bring me some air, I would have caught it much more easily and brought it to you than catching the mind. This is not possible, and this question in 2 verses shows the difficulty on an everyday basis. So, na pashyami. Na pashyami. Why? Because the mind is generally agitated, moving, restless. And then it says it is strong, well entrenched, and it is a tyrant. The mind is a dictator. Balavat, Balavan it is. It's a dictator. It tells me what to do. I have to do it. It is as impossible to control as it is the wind. What to do now? We'll see tomorrow. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadagya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Who wants Kenopanishad text? Okay, come and get it. If you are attending the morning class, this is pertinent to you. If you are, it's okay. This is just the text and the transliteration and translation, so we can chant in the class.